So on the Kebab live stream on Friday, we got the selection of the champions for Summoner's Choice 2024, which, after Summoner's Choice 2023 and after all that malarkey, which I did like two videos on, so if you want to see what happened down last year, go and watch those. But after you've watched this one, obviously. So with this one, there's a villain theme, which is quite obvious because all these champions, they're all villains, and majority of them are arachnids or bugs, which is interesting choice. Now I've seen a lot of people say that this Summoner's Choice isn't very. It's very underwhelming because there aren't a lot of characters in here that people they're very well known, which I do get, but at the same time I'm not particularly bothered by this because thing about this with Mortal Kombat Champions is that there's a load of other like obscure characters like Hitmonkey, one of my favorite characters to play in the game. He's a monkey assassin with nunchucks. These obscure characters, and these less known characters, I'm not particularly bothered by. So yeah, I'm kind of glad they've gone in this direction because the last like few years they've been like quite well known characters. And then also like some of these characters, I imagine they probably will be in the game at some point because January we're getting Bullseye and White Tiger, two characters that were previously in Summoner's Choice. Because Bullseye was in it last year as like an underdog vote. Obviously, White Tiger lost or won and it was rigged depending on who you ask. From Gladiator last year. So yeah, but let's get into these characters, shall we? And I'll tell you who I'm personally going to vote for. But just to preface, it's a game. You don't have to listen to me. This is just like my opinion and who I'd like to come to the game. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to anyone. Vote for who you want to vote for. So we'll go from left to right. So first one at the top, we've got Shafra. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. She is a human who is basically consumed with hatred and is in the form of a spider wasp. So interesting concept. She's probably my least one I'd like to come to a game out of all of these. I don't personally like. It's an interesting concept. I'm not really big on the design. I think it's quite. I personally feel it to be a little bit generic. They might do something different with her if she does come to the game, but yeah. And I don't know if she'd be cosmic or mystic or science. I think she'd either be cosmic or mystic. But yeah, we don't know the classes of these characters. Some of them they're quite obvious. Some of them maybe not so. Actually, to be fair, I think there's like two or three of these that are like they could be either one of two classes. So yeah, Shafra, probably my least favorite one to come to the game. But I'd still like it's not like she's like completely like a bad choice. So I just wouldn't be too fussed about her. Next one I really wouldn't mind seeing actually. Now that I've thought about this for a few days, is the Beetle. I know Beetle from I think what was it, the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon? I know because I've got the first Daily Bugle up in my Lego collection in my box. And the first Daily Bugle that we did that had Beetle in it. So I know him from that. But that one was a male incarnation of one. This one is Janice Lincoln, Tombstone's daughter. I believe in the comic. Yeah, Tombstone's daughter. Which I think she'd be an interesting choice. She'd be a tech, I think, because obviously the Beetle suit is all technology, deals with like all types of like lasers and all that. So she's part of I think it's the Syndicate, with like other ones because I know there's like a female Dr. Octopus and I can't remember the name of her, but yeah, she like works with like those ones. So yeah. I wouldn't mind Beetle coming to the game. She's probably like in the top three of these ones I'd like to come to the game. I would say my other two, as we get onto them. Well, speaking of moving on to the character that I think's probably going to win the vote, mainly because he's probably the most well known, is the Blob. If you don't know who the Blob is, I'm sure if you've seen the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, he's in that, where he's fighting in the boxing ring with Logan. So that's probably what he's most well known for, which is why I think he's probably the most likely to win this vote, especially in like the YouTube and the Twitch chat. I think everyone was going blob 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 blob. So I think he'd be a mutant, obviously. I think he'd probably hit hard and be a bit of a tank as well on defense. So that'd be quite all cool to see. I wouldn't mind, a mutant from Summoner's Choice, because there's not really any cosmics in here, which I kind of like, because obviously Herc won the first one, and then Quicksilver got it the second time, and then obviously we got Gladiator last year. So 2 out of the 3 Summoner's Choice are done. They've both been 2 of them have been cosmic. So yeah, I'm kind of glad there's no cosmics. Well, Shafra could potentially be cosmic, but yeah, Blob would definitely be a mutant, and I think it'd be fun. Good, just fun champion, new character model as well, because he's a bit chubby, is Blob. So that'd be a cool character design as well, which I'd like to see. So yeah, Blob's probably my second one, and then we'll get on to probably one I'd like to come to the game the most. Next up is Shriek. She escaped prison with Carnage in the comics, and she was also in the second Venom film as well, along with Carnage. And she has the power of, shrieking. She's got really high pitched. She's got very high pitched screaming. So yeah, I can't wait for that. She wins a vote. Can't wait for that to be her like specials will just be her screaming all the time, which I don't know what would be worse of that, or just when you hit Howard and he just quacks. But yeah, Shriek, she'd be a mutant, I think. Yeah, she's a mutant in the comic book, so yeah, I like her design. From the picture they used for her, I like her design. It's the same with Beetle. I like her design as well. But yeah, as Shriek, she's fine. I wouldn't mind her coming to the game. She'd be, hopefully a decent mutant, which we've been sorely lacking mutants, apart from Onslaught, obviously, who's just mental at the moment. But yeah, Shriek, I wouldn't, she just doesn't personally interest me. But the next one does, purely just for the meme potential of him with all the B-movie jokes that could be done, is Swarm, who is a scientist and has become a hive for bees. So it's a hive of bees in a purple cloak. I would like this guy to get in purely just for B-movie memes alone. That is it. But hopefully he'd be good. He'd probably, I think, because obviously the guy who becomes Swarm is a scientist, so could be science, could possibly be mystic as well. Hopefully power stings up the wazoo for him, hopefully, like Spider-Ham. But yeah, just purely based on meme potential, I wouldn't mind Swarm coming this year. But, always the potential in the future for him to come to the game as well. But yeah, just purely based on memes, would love Swarm. But now, my one that moving on to one I'd probably love to see the most is Viper, Madam Hydra. She's basically the modern day Red Skull for Hydra, essentially. She would be skilled. She's a master combatant in, basically nearly every single weapon. And she also has like poison experimentation, if anything, for that. She was also for poisons as well. She was also in the Wolverine movie from 2013, where he goes to Japan. She was pretty forgettable in that film, but she was in there. So yeah, another case of I think she might get in there maybe because she's in that, although Blob's probably more well known for being in Wolverine than Viper is for being in the 2013 one. So, but yeah, I think please make her poison immunity, because I think she'd be the first skill to be immune to poison. Obviously, you've got Purify and all that, but I think she'd be the first skill to be poison immune, because mostly with the skills, it's all purifying. So, yeah, I think Viper, I would love her to come to the game. Obviously, she's, in the thing on the live stream, she's got ties to Wolverine, which, Wolverine's one of my favourite characters, comic book characters. He's my favourite Marvel character. So, yeah, and also, she's the leader of Hydra as well, with Red Skull. So, well, but after Red Skull, I should say. So, I think she's probably the one if she makes it past round 1 and makes it all the way through, I probably would vote for her all the way. But, Blob, Viper, and Beetle are probably the 3 I'm going to vote for first off. But now we've got Ruby Thursday, the most, one of the most obscure character designs I've ever seen. I think, she basically removed her head, and her head's just like a machine which can explode. So interesting concept for a character, definitely. I would like her to see her mainly because she is a very, very obscure character. I'd never heard of her before the live stream. Never ever heard of her. And then obviously when they started getting into her powers and all that, very interesting character design and what she can do. She'd probably be tech, so I wouldn't mind a decent tech champion. Same with Beetle. Wouldn't mind a decent tech, but I think Beetle's definitely well more known than Ruby Thursday. But yeah, interesting character design. And then we've got Black Tarantula, who it looks very menacing in this portrait they got of him. He just looks so cool. I think he's probably the coolest looking one out of all of the ones here. Just the black and then the whitish, the goldish white trim. Just, dude's got drip, that's all I will say. But yeah, he would, he's a criminal, master, kind of similar to Kingpin, but obviously not as popular as Kingpin. And also he seems to not be able to die, because in the live stream said they, with Bullseye, funnily enough, stabbed him with heart, and obviously Bullseye doesn't miss. Dude didn't die, so might have a bit of, he could possibly be immortal. We don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't mind him coming to the game either. He just looks cool, I don't mind these cool looking characters coming to the game. And that's probably the reason I wouldn't mind him coming to the game. The only one I can't really make a case for is Shafra. I personally just find the design a bit generic. So yeah, he just looks cool. For Black Tarantula, which is probably the only reason I'd like him to come to the game, but he just looks like he'd just be in charge of I know I was just watching Legacy's video, and I agree with him. He probably just looks like in charge of a Black ISO store. He looks like he's in charge of something, So yeah, to wrap this video up, interesting choice of champions. I think, we'll see how this vote plays out, because it doesn't start for, I think a week or so. So we'll see how this goes. I'll probably do a video when it gets to the top 2, because that's when it's going to get really, really interesting. It got really, really interesting last year. Very, very interesting last year. But hopefully all your White Tiger stands are happy now that she's finally coming to the game. But that's enough of White Summoners Choice 2023. But yeah, overall, interesting selection of characters. I like how they're all villains. I like how half of them are based on bugs and arachnids. And then the rest of them are, well, two of them are mutants, another one's a insanely skilled combatant, and the other one's got an exploding bubblegum head. So yeah, I think the way for my votes at the moment for the first round is probably going to be Viper, probably get most majority of my votes, then Blob, and then Beetle, because out of all of them, those are three I probably want to come to the game most. And I imagine, obviously, we'll get the Summoner's Choice champion to come into the game, and I imagine at some point down the line we'll get the second place one, because we got like White Tiger eventually, well, this January actually, and then I can't remember who was second place to Quicksilver. I can't remember, but Omega Sentinel was second to Hercules, and we got her not too long after Hercules. I think it was like 8 or 9 months after we got Hercules. So yeah, I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you all enjoyed it, giving me, my thoughts on Summoner's Choice. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it. If you disliked it for whatever reason, dislike it. And if you like this video, check out some of my other content. If you like my other content, turn that red subscribe button to grey, and also press the bell just in case you miss out on any of my videos, because then you won't miss any. But that is all for me. Goodbye.